Hello everyone! Welcome to the final requirement of our course, Readings in Philippine History. Here, I've compiled some of the most fascinating historical sites, events, and artifacts found in our beloved country, the Philippines. Some of these are based on our previous discussions, while others come from the extensive research I've conducted. To make it easier to explore, I've divided this content into 4 videos, which are uploaded here on YouTube. This gradual upload is due to storage limitations, but I made sure each video is packed with detailed and informative content for you to enjoy. I hope you find these videos engaging and enlightening as we dive deeper into the richness of Philippine history. Thank you and happy learning. Now let us have the first historical place. This is the MacArthur Landing Memorial National Park. It is located on the eastern side of central Philippines. It is in the municipality of Palo, located in the province of Leyte. On October 20, 1944, General Douglas MacArthur would land at this spot to begin the liberation of the Philippines from the Japanese during World War II. The primary feature of the park is the iconic bronze statues that are double the size of a traditional person. There are 7 bronze statues representing the leaders who made a historic walk onto the beach that day. The statues include General Douglas MacArthur, Sergio Osmeña, the Philippine President in exile, Lieutenant General Richard Sutherland, Brigadier General Carlos Romulo, Major General Courtney Whitney, Sergeant Francisco Salveron, and aide and orderly to General MacArthur. Within the park, there is also a small museum that contains a selection of photographs, a copy of MacArthur's speech, and a diverse selection of items collected to reflect MacArthur's involvement in the Philippines throughout World War II. This is called the Wall of History or the Relief Wall. It depicts historical events related to General Douglas MacArthur and the Filipino people's efforts during World War II. The second historical place, the ruins. The Ruins Mansion is the remains of an ancestral home built in 1920 by a wealthy sugar baron named Don Mariano Ledesma Lacson. Don Mariano constructed the mansion as a testament of his love for his Portuguese wife, Cora Maria Osorio Rosa Braga, after she passed away in 1911. Maria, who was pregnant with her 11th child at the time, lost her and their babies' lives after figuring in an accident. Don Mariano built the structure in a 440-hectare sugar plantation situated on the border of present-day Talisay and Bacolod. Its architecture was described as Italianate due to deriving inspiration from Italian architecture. However, it was later set aflame in 1942 by Filipino guerrilla fighters employed by the United States Armed Forces during the Second World War. This was done in order to prevent its use as a military office by the invading Japanese forces. It continuously burned for 3 days until only its current cement frame was left standing. The original intention was to burn it to the ground. Despite losing the majority of the mansion, its ruins have been recognized as one of the architectural wonders of the Philippines. It has also gained titles such as the Taj Mahal of the Philippines. Today, the ruins mansion is in the private ownership of the great-grandchildren of Don Mariano Ledesma Lacson and Cora Maria Osorio Rosa Braga. Third, we have a place that is located just a few meters away from the Manila Cathedral and Palacio del Gobernador. Fort Santiago is one of the most significant historical sites in Manila. Join me in discovering Fort Santiago, a 400-year-old site that has stood as a witness to major milestones in Philippine history. We begin at Plaza Moriones, this open expansive space that greets visitors upon entry at the fort. Here are numerous structures including the Baluartillo de San Francisco Javier. It served as one of the walled city's seafront defenses and storage chambers in the Spanish colonial era. During the Second World War, it was turned into a prison cell by the Japanese military. Today, it houses the Intramuros Visitor Center and several shops. This is a reducto, an independent structure outside the walls that serves as the first line of defense. It also functioned as a storage for ammunition and food supply. Today, it houses the Shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe. We return to Plaza Moriones, one of the many plazas or open spaces in Intramuros. Named after Spanish Governor General Domingo Moriones, it was once an open ground for military drills, parades, and ceremonies until its destruction in the 1863 earthquake. The U.S. Army then took over and used it as barracks. Now it's an open space where events and activities in Intramuros are held. Across the plaza is Almacenes Reales or Royal Warehouses. This was a storehouse for goods unloaded by ships at the river gate during the Manila-Acapulco galleon trade. The unreinforced stone arches which originally supported the second floor remain intact, a testament to the durability and timelessness of traditional architecture. In this area are the remains of soldiers' barracks. During the Japanese occupation, former Philippine President Elpidio Quirino was imprisoned here for 16 days. The space is also used as an exhibit area by the Intramuros administration. This brass plaque contains a roll of honor and the list of survivors of Filipinos incarcerated inside Fort Santiago during World War II. This man-made canal was restored in the 1980s and connects the Pasig River to Manila Bay. The fort's entrance is guarded by two ramparts, the Baluarte de San Miguel on the left and the Medio Baluarte de San Francisco on the right. These ramparts were built in the 1600s to fortify the defenses of Fort Santiago from the river and the land. Here stands the main gate to Fort Santiago. The main gate is decorated by a wood relief carving of Spain's patron saint Santiago Matamoros, as well as the coat of arms of the former kingdoms of Castile and Leon. Castile is represented by the castle, while the lion represents the kingdom of Leon. This was a former military headquarters of four successive colonial empires in the Far East. The pre-colonial history of Manila can also be traced in this section of Intramuros, where the kingdom of Raja Sulaiman was once located. At the center of the fort proper is the Plaza de Armas. It derived its name from the use of the area to stock arms and rifles when not in use. Similar to Plaza Moriones, this was also where the soldiers marched around for their daily drills. This was a two-story adobe building which housed Spanish artillery companies. Destroyed during the Battle of Manila, this was renovated into an open-air theater for the use of the Philippine Educational Theater Association, or PETA. The main room of the Soldiers' School was converted into a chapel cell for Jose Rizal, who was transferred here after 56 days of imprisonment at the Soldiers' Barracks. According to the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, it was here where Jose Rizal married Josephine Bracken. This passageway, the Postigo de la Nuestra Señora de Soledad, was the main access of Fort Santiago's occupants to the Pasig River. Promenade was rehabilitated by the Intramuros administration and is now a riverside park. Here stands the Rizal Shrine. This place was the former soldiers' barracks, which had a pantry and food storage before it was used as a cell for Jose Rizal. Today, Rizal Shrine, or Museo ni Jose Rizal, pays tribute to the life work of the country's national hero through its themed settings and relics. Now, we enter the dungeons. This used to be gunpowder magazines before being converted into prison cells. After the Battle of Manila in 1945, 600 decomposing bodies of prisoners were found here. Their remains were subsequently buried en masse on an open ground nearby and is marked with a white marble cross. This site used to be the Casa del Castellano, the residence of the fort commander. This was built in the 16th century to protect the entrance from the Pasig River. The ground floor of the Baluarte de Santa Barbara has recently been converted into an educational facility known as the I Make History Lego Education Center. Falsa Braga means false wall. This deceived the enemy and protected the fort from heavy bombardment. From a military site that bore witness to Manila's multi-layered and at times tumultuous past, Fort Santiago today is a national shrine that welcomes visitors to learn and relive our people's journey onto becoming this nation called the Philippines. This cultural commercial complex houses various restaurants, an arts and crafts store, and Casa Manila. Casa Manila or Manila House was built in 1981, copied from the ancestral house that once stood in Calle Haboneros. It's a lifestyle museum aimed at showcasing the domestic lifestyle of a native principalia during the Spanish colonial period. Let's go and see what's inside. Before we enter, we need to bang the Antillean door knocker in order to inform servants that there are incoming guests. This part of the house is called zaguan or corridor. It was through the zaguan that the carriages or carruajes entered and dropped off passengers by the stairs. These ground floor walls are made of adobe and volcanic tuff, like the walls of Intramuros. Meanwhile, the patio flooring is called Piedra China. The patio served to cool the rooms of the house. It was also used as a garden. We are now at the mezzanine, also known as the entresuelo. Literally means between floors. Rooms in the entresuelo were reserved for extended family. Guests can sometimes be accommodated, but the extended family usually lived here. This unique seat is called the capilla. This is the bachelorette's room. The bed is made by a Chinese carver named Atay. Famous in the 19th century, Atay beds used to be a status symbol. Other common furniture at the time include the baul or the wooden chest and the butaca. Here in the despacho, also known as main oficina, the owner of the house conducted business transactions together with his clerks and accountants. Wealth during the colonial era was mostly sourced from lands called haciendas. While some earned from the galleon trade, most of the principalia were landowners called hacienderos. The main workstation is a massive desk called escritorio. We have just reached the antesala or queda, meaning to fall, referring to the stair landing. During the day, the family used the area for entertaining close friends or having merienda or afternoon snacks. These decorative wooden panels are used to circulate air between rooms. The volada is the area between the dining room and the antesala. And here we have the Sala Mayor. Very important people were entertained here. This room was decorated to show off one's status in society. Tertulias or late afternoon parties and bailes or dance gatherings were held here. Older people discussed the latest in politics, business, and fashion, while the children of the host, particularly young ladies, led the singing and playing of musical instruments. Here is the oratorio or prayer room where family gathered at night to pray the rosary. This room is considered another sign of affluence. This is the cuarto principal or the master's bedroom. Tradition dictated that the master of the house would give up his room for very important guests staying in for the night. This is a reflection of traditional Filipino hospitality. Meanwhile, the children's room was decorated with a carousel-designed ceiling to make it more appealing. This is the comedor. It's a typical dining place for the family. It showcases the family's collection of silver, glassware, and porcelain. A comedor usually has a pangka. The servant pulls the string to drive away flies and to help ventilate the area. This is the kusina or the typical kitchen. It has a banguera or slotted wooden dish rack used for air drying newly washed utensils and tableware before they were kept inside a platera or paminggalan. These cookie and biscuit molds in various designs are made of hardwood. One has San Nicolas de Tolentino, the patron saint of bakers. Let's go this way to the latrina or toilet. The one you'll find here is good for two. Flushing was done by throwing large buckets of water into the tubes. The bathroom contains two sizes of bañeras or bathtubs. Since the family was of the affluent class, they normally had many servants. Master just sits in the tub while the servants pour water. After bathing, the servants unplugged the cork of the tubs, draining the water onto the floor. This is the azotea or the open-air balcony. It is here where you can see an aljibe or water system. It is either filled with rainwater or potable water. These are just a few of the things you'll find in the Filipino ancestral home. And there's a lot more to discover. Heading to the fifth place, the Barsoin Church. The Barsoin Church was originally founded by Augustinian missionaries and built for the Roman Catholic Masses in Malolos, Bulacan during the mid-1500s to early 1600s. It was well known for its intricate architecture and adornments. However, it was burned down at the height of the Philippine Revolution in the 1800s. It was renovated and reconstructed, but its haunting beauty still remained. Throughout the years, it has served as a venue for various occasions. The most notable are these three major national events, namely the First Philippine Congress, the drafting of the Malolos Constitution in 1899, and the inauguration of two Philippine presidents, General Emilio Aguinaldo, the President of the First Republic, and President Joseph Estrada, the 13th President of the Republic of the Philippines. In 1898, under what was then a revolutionary government, the Philippines' capital was moved north to Malolos, Bulacan. The Barsoin Church was chosen to be the site of the First Philippine Congress, more widely known as the Malolos Congress, headed by Don Pedro A. Paterno. This led to the drafting of the Malolos Constitution, which was ratified in 1899. With the Constitution ratified, the Filipinos were able to inaugurate the first Philippine Republic. It was because of this that the Church was dubbed as the cradle of democracy in the East. Only 2 Philippine presidents have been inaugurated in the Church: General Emilio Aguinaldo as the President of the First Philippine Republic in 1899, and former President Joseph Estrada almost a century later in 1998. Interestingly, both presidents were unable to finish their term, the former due to captivity during the Philippine-American War, and the latter because he was impeached during the EDSA People Power Second Revolution and famously dubbed as EDSA DOS. Former President Ferdinand Marcos declared the Baraswing Church a national shrine as per his Presidential Decree number 260 in 1973. The Baraswing Church is located along Paseo del Congreso at the corner of Republica Street in the city of Malolos, Bulacan. It is about 42 kilometers north of Metro Manila.